Listening to the video talking about hot comics right now, and I thought I would dive into something very similar. You guys have a lot of really good feedback from that, but instead of doing exactly the same thing, I thought I would try to show you and talk to you about some projects that have gotten greenlit based on comic books. And got to be honest, all these are very small, obscure, or weird issues that you got to be honest are going to soar in price just because they're not going to be widespread. So let's talk about that list right now. All right, it says hot comics because this is going to jump from obscurity right to the top of the list. This comic from Image is about 10 years old, and the beauty centers around the fact that physical perfection is attainable, yet it comes with a price. And this show, or I guess it's a TV, FX has picked it up, is going to center around detectives that are investigating, quote, the terrible price that it's going to come with. Now, it's got kind of an all star cast. It includes Ashton Kutcher, Anthony Ramos, Evan Peters, and Jeremy Pope. Nip Tuck's Ryan Murphy, who's done some great stuff, has signed on with Netflix to develop this. And I admit it's kind of been talked about on and off again since the pandemic era. So I got a feeling this one actually is not only going to happen, is actually going to happen rather quickly. And based on the creative team and the concept of it, I feel like this one could actually be pretty good. All right, this is one that kind of been talked about when James Gunn kind of came over to the DCU. And while this I don't expect is going to tie into all the superhero stuff they're working on, it's not going to surprise anyone that he's going to tap his finger a little bit around some of the horror genre stuff. We got rumors of a Clayface film. This is going to lead into horror, but this one is even weirder. Basketful of Heads is about a woman, a young lady who has an axe, a Viking axe, is bewitched. She goes around decapitating criminals, and their heads continue to speak to her. And of course, there's danger to everyone that she's involved in. And this is going to star Natasha Lyonne, who I don't know much about, but this has moved rather quickly from kind of being talked about to whatever into yep, this is going to happen. So expect this one to kind of take off in price over the next few weeks. All right, here's another Image Comics. It's called Night by Wyatt Kennedy. It's only from a couple years ago. It's really pretty new, so this is very inexpensive for now. It's moved quickly for an adaptation that, as far as I can tell through Netflix's news, it's going to be animated. And it's, quote, an orphan boy moves in with a secret mercenary cousin and befriends the greatest vampire who ever lived. So yeah, I mean, if you're a fan of sort of like that type of anime and vampires, and yeah, this seems like it works really well for now. Let's get this done. So yeah, this works well. To go on here, it talks about. Let me see here. Supernatural creatures exist among the common folk. America is comprised of just 31 states. It's 2003, and Vince Akanama has lost his parents, moved in with a secret mercenary cousin, his video game making roommate, when he becomes this, quote, the greatest vampire ever lived. And that's just the first 20 pages of the comic book. So, welcome to Florida. Oh, I don't know about all that. I'm not sure vampires are best served living in Florida, but hey, I'm not the one writing the comic book. All right, so IDW does have a lot of financial problems right now, but they appear to be optioning out some of their stuff, which could actually create a little fluid cash flow in it. This was coming from Amazon, Killlock #1 from about 5 years ago. It is, quote, guilty of an irredeemable crime. Four robots, a soldier, an addict, a murderer, and a child must work together to find a cure for the kill lock, a programming link that means if one of them dies, they all die. I kind of scratched my head like, wait, why are robots addicts? Like, that's a weird. All right, there we go. But yeah, about $15 right now, but it's been upward trending since the news dropped at the end of January. So IDW's investment group has been kind of reaching out and kind of working with Amazon and others to try to get some of these things moving. And like I said, even if it just frees up some cash, I would think that maybe some of these things come to fruition. But the fact that it dealt with some robots and some sci-fi elements goes to Amazon. And yeah, I'm like, all right, I was kind of hopeful. Very interesting. Worthy of note. All right, this is another one of those IDW ones. See, this also came out of kind of the investor thing, but kind of dropped just right before that. Spooky Pictures, Late Night with the Devil is one of their projects. They are looking to adapt this one by Scott Snyder called Dark Spaces Dungeon. Quote, a family moves from a city to upstate New York, but rural life is shattered after the discovery of a dungeon beneath their land and the mystery of who is responsible for the torture devices and the threatening message inscribed on the wall. Now, the fact that Snyder is attached, I think, is really good and creates a good prospect for this. Spooky Pictures trying to find a way to kind of get their business model and things going, licensing something out instead of starting to completely from scratch is also good. So I don't know. This would be interesting. I think it's extremely horror driven, and then we would see something that some horror fans might want. So yeah, there you go. Dark Spaces Dungeon. All right, folks. So that's sort of the list for this week. I just wanted to kind of throw together some of these from time to time and give you some thoughts and some things to chew on. And gotta be honest, these are kind of obscure things. Some might even be difficult to find. But feel free to check out the channel for some other topics like this. There's links in the playlist there that you might enjoy. And I sure appreciate your time. I am Pops.